everybody, and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. Today, I am super excited to be sharing with you guys one of my favorite new upcoming projects. This is a project that has partnerships with BrewDog and Google, and if we take the time to zoom back and look at our prior cycles and see which projects have seen Google partnership, there's only a handful, and oftentimes those end up being the very best performing altcoins over our entire cycle. When we're talking about the best narrative to trade this cycle, I don't really think we can look any further than RWAs, and I really do believe that I found the very top pick for RWAs to be following this cycle. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and if you do find any value, please do me a favor, hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And without further ado, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, here we are to start off today's video, and I am very excited to break this down because I've been waiting for a little while to share with you guys this project, been waiting for the IDO to go live, and with the IDO going live, I wanted to break down all of the reasons, the details for why I think that this is going to be the very best performing RWA project this cycle, and why I'm so bullish on it and actually have personally invested into this project. Degen Distillery is going to be one of the best RWA projects that you can find just because of the backing that it has. Now, I'm not even talking about all of the details around what the project does, how it's going to benefit the token holders themselves. When we actually take the time to look back at which projects see the most benefit and the biggest adoption over the cycle, it's usually the ones that have a lot of good partnerships from the very get-go. And you're not really going to find a better partnership than what we see over here with Google. Now, they have partnerships with BrewDog as well. BrewDog is one of the very biggest brewing companies in the entire world. And so having those two key partnerships, in my opinion, are some of the best backing that you're ever going to get at the very beginning of a new project. Not only that, guys, when we're talking about real world assets, for you guys that don't know what that even is, a real world asset is anything from the normal world, whether it's a car, it could be car insurance, it could be legal documents, medical information, it could be a house, anything like that. That's all going to have to be tokenized and put on the blockchain at some point. The reason so many people believe that RWAs are going to outperform the vast majority of projects in this cycle are because when we need all of this adoption to come into crypto, there's not really a better narrative for adoption than real world assets, because that's probably going to be the first major asset class to come over and bridge into crypto. When we're talking about how BlackRock, how Franklin Templeton, and many of the biggest institutional corporations in the world are actually investing into crypto, many of them have already invested into the RWA sector, and that's why I think that this is primed to do so much bigger gains than many of the other key narratives out there. When we look at the total market cap of RWAs, it's currently valued at $8.1 billion, which a lot of people might think, man, that's kind of a lot. I feel like most of the gains have already been squeezed out of this, but the truth is, when we take the time to look at the total value of all RWAs in the normal world, this is just a fraction of the overall upside potential that we could actually experience. Looking over here and taking a look at RWAs as a whole, we can see that they're valued at about $14 trillion, and this is excluding all stable coins as well. When we're talking about the idea of $14 trillion of untapped valuation coming into this crypto sector, I really don't think that we can be fading this, considering that's a significant amount of money. That is way more money positioned and ready to be invested into a narrative than almost all of the narratives in crypto. So when we're talking about something that has a lot of upside potential, you really shouldn't look any further than RWAs. Not only that, but when we're talking about which projects actually have a partnership with Google, it's basically the best performing cryptos in all of our cycles. We can come over here and see that Polygon was one of the very first cryptos to see that sort of a partnership, and if we look at what Polygon did in the last cycle, it blew many people out of the water and gave us some of our biggest gains of all of the cryptos. If we come over and actually look at the chart of Polygon, this will give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. It really didn't do a lot. In fact, a lot of people hated on Polygon all the way back in these early days, only to see just how big this bull run actually got. If I would have bought into this one early on, this one probably would have been the very best performing asset in my entire portfolio. This went up hundreds of X in value, and if you were early enough, you could have even made 1,000X off of this move. But this isn't the only one that ended up doing those type of gains after a Google partnership. We can come over here and also look at Polkadot and see a lot of those same similarities once more. This was one of the very best performing cryptos over that last cycle, and I made a significant amount of profit off of of this. Just following along with where the smart money is being positioned, how they're actually investing their portfolios this cycle will give you such a big benefit and be much more profitable than the rest of the market. And you really can't look any further than a Google partnership. Just looking at a handful of projects that have seen these partnerships, and we can tell that they instantly benefited from all of that exposure. HBAR was another good example of a project that actually did a lot of this same scenario. If we come over here and look back at Hedera Hashgraph, Hedera had one of those Google partnerships, and it also saw a very big cycle in its last bull market. This cycle, I firmly believe, is much bigger than the last cycle. I think that with a Google partnership, we're going to have even more money and more eyes investing into this bull market, because in the last cycle, we didn't have institutional investors. All we had were retail investors. We had some small companies that got exposure, but for the big majority of institutions, they weren't really here until this cycle. If we're talking about institutions being here for the first time in this bull market, where are institutions going to invest? In my opinion, the RWA sector is probably the most likely, considering all of our normal world value is going to have to get tokenized. And the only way that they can do that is through RWAs. And I really do believe that any projects that are tapping into this sort of $14 trillion opportunity are going to see way more gains than the vast majority of the market. And once again, guys, if we actually come back over and take a look at Degen Distillery, I wanted to get into some of the details around this project and why I think it's going to be such a good long-term buy this cycle. Now, aside from all of the partnerships that we just looked at, you can't really look any further than what they've been able to create up to this point. They have already sold thousands, tens of thousands of bottles of vodka. They have already been oversubscribed, multiple different events that they've hosted, because there's just so much demand for this product. And so that's more or less what this entire model is. They're selling vodka. And by you actually being a token holder, you're going to be able to earn off of some of those kickbacks inside of the project. And one of the great things about actually being a token holder into this project is as they continue to grow their business, they get more and more sales, they cater to more parties and events, all of that profit is going to be kicked back to the token holders themselves. And so this is a way that we can actually invest into the beginning of a brand, and when that brand succeeds, we have the opportunity of actually earning kickbacks, rev share, all of those great opportunities that can come with a profitable company. And that is why I'm so bullish on RWAs as a whole. Now guys, if we're looking at holding drink tokens and we're talking about them having a partnership with Google, and when we look at a couple of the projects that have had these partnerships and how much that's benefited the token price, you got to expect that if drink gets a lot of adoption, we see a lot of people, like we already have, buying a lot of these bottles, you got to expect that the token price as a whole is going to benefit substantially, and you, by holding the tokens, are going to be able to earn a kickback off of all of the bottle profits sold. That is what I think is the most beneficial point of being early to this. And for anybody that does want to get invested into this project before it takes off, you can actually come over here to C2Fi and participate in the IDO. I always tell you guys that if you're looking to invest into a project, you can't really get a better buy than by going to the IDO, getting in at the pre-sale level, and then looking to see what the project does long term. Not all pre-sales are going to work in the best interest, but the ones that do work out, you can't really get any earlier than that pre-sale level, and that's where the biggest gains are made. If I look back in the last cycle at what my biggest profits were, it was always when I was early to an actual pre-sale, because the gains that are made once that market pumps are way bigger than you'll find anything else. The issue is if we're getting in after the pre-sale, we're generally late to the party. This is one that I don't want to be late in, so I've actually already gone and invested into this with the partnerships backing it, looking at what these projects have done with the same partnerships of the last cycle and how well they outperformed everything. I got a lot of confidence that this is going to be one of the best winners, and if you guys do want to be able to participate, I'm going to link the C2Fi website in the description below. You've got 19 hours to be able to participate, or until this sells out. Chances are it's going to sell out before this 19 hours is up, so I would just get in if you're going to, and then just see what it turns into. But with that being said, guys, when I find an opportunity that I think speaks volumes, that is going to be one of those big winners, I always want to share it to you guys on my YouTube channel, and this is one of those that I have a lot of confidence actually gets a lot of mainstream adoption. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for the support. I'm going to link everything in the description for you guys to follow, Twitter accounts, websites, all of that stuff, so that you guys can be in the loop of what to expect moving forward. Make sure to get your drink tokens off of C2Fi. You only have 20 hours to do that. I will link that in the description as well. With that being said, thank you so much. I will catch you guys in the next one. As always, peace out.